Welcome back to today's session. Dear children, can you able to remember the Indian Constitution? Yes, today we are going to see about the Indian Constitution, the fundamental rights and also the fundamental duties. We'll start the session. Fundamental rights that has been written in the Constitution and given a separate division in part 3. It has been said that a Magna Carta, what's that word denotes? It's a word that says about the golden document. So fundamental rights is a golden document that has been given to the Indian citizen. The articles that holds or confirms about the fundamental rights are 12 to 35. So dear children, the fundamental rights in the article 12 to 35 describes in a very well manner about the rights of the citizen, those who survive or live in India. Yes, originally it is 7 in the beginning, but at present it's only 6. So 6 fundamental rights have been given to you. The fundamental rights are given to every citizen of India to survive in peaceful way and not to hurt or harm others. Well, we'll see about the 6 fundamental rights of the Indian citizen. The first one we are going to see is right to equality. Equality before law. It has been enshrined in Article 14. What is equality before law? Without any discrimination, under the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, in the sense male or female, or at the place of birth. And also the equal opportunity that has been given in the employment. So prohibition of discrimination. Mainly the difference should not be shown in any way. As well as the untouchability. We should not separate any person that they have been belong to the lower caste or lower grade people. Finally, Article 18 says that abolition of titles except military and academic proficiency. Okay children, we'll move on to the next one. Right to freedom. Freedom in the sense you have a right to do anything what you like, but we have some restriction that has been given by the Constitution. We'll see about that. Freedom of speech and expression. You can gather a meeting in a society, in an open place, but that should not hurt or harm others. The association have been given free way of manner. The movement, whatever the movement you wanted to start can be started in a free way. The residence and profession is also given at your hands in a free way. Article 20 says that protection in respect of conviction for offences. That is, if anyone have been offended, they have to give proper protection. You know very well, if any criminals has also have been ill-treated, it has been questioned by the Human Rights Commission. So even the culprits or even one who does the offense have to be treated in a fair way. That is a right to freedom. Protection of life and personal liberty. Right to elementary education. Everyone, every citizen, every child have to be given an elementary education. Protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. This Article 22 insists that none of them have to be arrested very easily or without any reason. They should not be kept in prison for certain days. Immediately they have to be handed over to the judge. So this is also have been given as a right to freedom to a citizen of India. We'll move on to the next right. Right against exploitation. Exploitation. We should not exploit any one of a citizen against the rule. So a right for their dignity. So here Article 23 and 24 says about the trafficking in human beings and forced labor, and the children should not be given any employment. Child labor should be avoided, prohibited. The fourth one, right to religion. Already we have seen in the preamble a special correction have been given, or a special duty have been given to every citizen, that has been called as secularism. What is meaning of secularism? Right to follow any religion. None of them have to be restricted in following their religion, and also none of them have to be forced to follow any religion. So this is what is in the fourth right. Freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. You have free to follow, practice or to say about your religion. The next one, freedom to manage religious affairs. If you need anything to be done for, regarding the religion, you have free to manage that affairs. Freedom for payment of tax for promotion of any religion. Freedom for attending religious instruction or worship in certain educational institution. You know, some of the institution have been given as right to educate the children. When an institution is a Christian institution or an Hindu or a Muslim institution, they should not insist any of their students to follow their own religion. So it's restricted there. So when it has been given to the educational institution, the freedom have to be followed properly. So the children should not be forced to follow the educational institution's religion. Well, culture and educational rights. What is the culture and educational rights? You know, the language, the script that has been followed by the minorities should not be avoided. It is free to follow all those things by the minority people. Who were called as minorities and who were called the majorities? You know, India has been fully from the Aryan culture. We follow only Hinduism. That is the one have been here in India. So whoever have been converted to Hindus or Muslims and to other religion, they were considered as minorities relating to the religious affairs. Okay, well, now as like that, we have some other minorities who were limited in numbers. So they were called as minorities, and the majority people is apart from them. So we have to have protection for the minority group of people. Their language, the script and the culture, that has to be protected. Rights of minorities to establish the administrator educational institution. It's not denied for the minorities not to start any institution. No. They have right to follow or right to start the institution. This is what has been enshrined in the Article 29 and 30. This is what is the fifth cultural and educational rights under the heading Fundamental Rights. The final thing we are going to see is right to constitutional remedies. Article 32 allows individuals to seek redressal for the violation of their fundamental rights. If you have been humiliated, if you have been ill-treated, so if there is any problem for your dignity, your life, so you have a right to move to the court to appeal a case against the person who have been harmed you. Will we see about this constitutional remedies? The writ is an order or command issued by the court is called as our own rights. The writ has 5 types, and Supreme Court have a right to give or pass this writ under its seal. Well, that's why Supreme Court is called as a guardian of Constitution. And according to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Article 32 is said to be the heart and soul of Constitution. Okay, children, we'll move on to the next topic, constitutional remedies with detailed explanation. Well, before that, right to property Article 31 was deleted from the list of fundamental rights by 44th Amendment Act. It has been deleted in 1978. There has been some changes. Right to property is even a girl baby have a right to attain the ancestral property. Well, to the right side you have the violation of fundamental rights, that has been depicted the child labor. Well, writ, that's what I told you about. 5 types of writ. What is the meaning of writ? Just see the definition of the writ. Written document or an order by a court with the approval in the sense the seal and sign of the judges. Well, what were the 5 types of writs? Habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari and quo warranto. The first one, habeas corpus. What does habeas corpus Act says about? It aims to prevent the unjust detention of prisoners. That is, to safeguard the people from illegal arrest. No one cannot be arrested illegally. They have to get a charge sheet. Then only they can be able to arrest. Charge sheet in the sense the warrant from the court. Without an warrant, none of them can be arrested. Warrant in the sense proper reason to the arrest. So this habeas corpus have been given by the writ, not to arrest anyone illegally. To the right side also you can see that the act that protects your right to personal liberty. The second one is right to mandamus. A writ, what is a mandamus? Is a court's order commanding an inferior court or a public authority to perform an official duty correctly. In other words, we can say that it protects the petitioners if he needs any legal assistance. So that have to be given properly, as well as if any information have to be got from the lower courts, they have to give the information properly. Okay, even from the public authorities. So no one have to be restricted in getting the information against the petitioners. The third one we are going to see is prohibition. Prohibition in the sense of void, isn't it? The prohibition says about the subordinate court from beyond acting its jurisdiction. So it has a limit. Even if I say that it is a court, they have to abide their own limitation. They should not exceed their limitation. That is what is prohibition. The fourth one is certiorari. What's that says about? It quashes or insists an order issued by the subordinate court by overstepping its jurisdiction. That is, in order to send the evidence or the order to the High Court or to any other higher official, they have to proceed their procedure properly. That is what is certiorari. Final one, the final writ says about quo warranto. The quo warranto says about to prevent the usurpation of public office through illegal manner. So, according to the law, we have to protect the public office. We should not harm or damage the office to get any information. So, this is also one of the writ that has been insisted in the fifth fundamental right, that is right against the constitutional right to constitutional remedies. Dear children, let's see about the definition, the proper definition about 5 writs. Just read with me. The first one, habeas corpus, to safeguard people from illegal arrest. The second, mandamus, it protects the petitioners who requires legal help to his work done by respective public authorities. Prohibition, it prohibits a subordinate court from acting beyond its jurisdiction. Certiorari, it quashes an order issued by the subordinate court by overstepping its jurisdiction limit. Quo warranto, it prevents usurpation of public office through illegal manner. As we have seen the fundamental rights, we are going to see about the suspension of fundamental rights. What do you mean about the suspension of fundamental rights? Who has a right to suspend this fundamental rights? Well, you know, the President is the first citizen of India. He is the one have the right to suspend the fundamental right. How can he able to suspend this fundamental rights during the emergency period? Well, you know very well about, or you have an experience about this emergency period. What is this emergency period? We'll talk about this COVID lockdown session. We say that if it is an emergency period, none of them are allowed to move out, but we have some restriction with certain permission, isn't it? But according to President's emergency period, no one is allowed to do anything against the emergency rule. That is how the President suspend the fundamental rights. Okay, we'll continue with the suspension of fundamental rights. When the emergency period has been announced, everything has been restricted for the citizen. So through his specific order, he has a certain right to avoid even a fundamental right, that is to speak against the government or against anyone. That is what is the right of a president, to suspend the fundamental rights. This census, This suspension of fundamental rights, the order must be get approved by the Parliament. We'll move on to the difference between the fundamental rights and the directive principles of the state policy. Fundamental rights have been given for a citizen and the directive principles have been given for the statewide administration. Well, the first one says about or derived from the Constitution of USA. But over directive principle, it has been drawn by the model of the Constitution of Ireland. So by seeing this, we have a different opinion against the fundamental rights and the directive principles. The next one is, even the government cannot take away or get rid of these rights, that is the fundamental rights that has been given for a citizen in a proper way. But for the statewide permission, that has to be given as a mere instruction to the government. The third one, these are enforceable by the court of law. But over here in the directive principles, it is not enforceable in any court. They have a conscience of doing certain service for the people, those who survive under their custody. Well, the fourth one we say is the legal sanction have to be given for fundamental rights. But over here in directive principles, it is with moral and political sanctions. So that's why, as I have told you in a previous norm, it is to be done according to their conscience. The fifth difference between the fundamental rights and the directive principles are the rights of strengthen political democracy in the country. This has to be implemented of the principles that ensures social and economic democracy, freedom to everyone and everything. That is what the fundamental rights and the directive principles says about. Hope you understand the difference. Just come to an conclusion. Fundamental rights give a priority for the society to live in a peaceful way of manner. But the directive principles says about the administration in the nationwide. So we have two government that is have been divided for the administrative purpose, statewide and nationwide. The state is not under the nation central, or the central is not under the state. That is what is the meaning of directive principles. The next is official language. You know, India have been divided into different types of people, different community with different religion. So the language speaking is also different. And after the independence, it has been said that the Indian states have been purely divided according to the languages. So this have to be given an approval. That's why we have come under the heading official language. So 22 languages have been given recognized by the Indian Constitution, and the communicative language will be English. Here you can see at the bottom, the 6 languages have been given a granted permission as a classical language. What were the 6 languages? Tamil, that has been got granted in 2004, Sanskrit in 2005, Telugu in 2008, and continuously we have Kannada with Telugu, and Malayalam in 2013 and Odia in 2014. These were the 6 classical language have been given approval by the Government of India. So we have to follow this in a genuine manner. Following to fundamental rights, we have some of our fundamental duties that has to be followed as a citizen, Indian citizen. We'll see about that. This has been insisted by the Sardar Shravan Singh Committee in 1976. It has been under the 42nd Amendment Act, the fundamental duties for the citizen. The first duty that has been enlisted in the fundamental duties is to abide the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and national anthem, especially to give respect or to obey the Constitution and honor the national symbols. You know very well about the national symbols, not only the flag or the anthem, and also the bird, the national animal, that also have to be protected in a proper way. The second one is to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired the national struggle for the freedom. You know very well how the national freedom fighters have been given their life for the freedom. So that struggle have to be cherished and followed. The next we are going to see is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity. We know, we'll talk about this in our national pledge, to say that we all Indians are brothers and sisters, the brotherhood that have to be holded in a dignity way, have to be respected, and not only that, as well as the sovereignty and unity have to be followed, upholded. To defend the country, we have to give our service at any cost. Whenever you have been called to do a service for the nation, you have to come front and be ready to serve to secure the nation. Respect our rich heritage of culture. To protect and improve national environment like forest, river, etc., we have to be the first person to guide it. To develop scientific temper, the humanism, the spirit of inquiry and reform the nation, we have to be the first person. Dear children, it's just not a mere fundamental rights or duties. You know well, you have your own conscience that before asking the nation what it has been done, you have to be ready to do or say what I have done to my nation. Okay, children? Just continue. Also, you have to strive for the excellence of the nation in all spheres, not together, not as a collective responsibility, but as an individual, you have to step forward to strive for the excellence. Provide education is a mere fundamental right that has been enlisted for the children. So no parents have to deny the child's education. That's why everyone have to be given education. You know very well the norms that none of them have to be depromoted still 8th standard, that is with the middle school. So everyone have to be promoted. What's the meaning of that? That's not that it says you should not be given a proper knowledge. No, it's your right. It's your fundamental right to get the knowledge about the education. So have your wholehearted and render yourself to learn and enlighten up your intellectual awakening. Well, we'll have a summary of this fundamental rights. Abide, give honor to the nation's symbols, cherish and give respect to the freedom struggle, uphold the sovereignty, unity, integrity, have a spirit of brotherhood, protect natural environment and public property. And not only that, improve scientific temper and humanism, ready to serve for any nation, ready to serve for nation at any moment, strive for excellence in all spheres, that is individually as well as collective activity. Finally, have to get education, provide education for children. We have come to end of the session. We'll move on to the homework. Children, and every time I say you that not to post your homework from the morning itself. You take your time, learn, prepare well, get it written by hearted, get the sign from your parents with the due date, and also post it between 5 to 6 in the same day evening. Please remember, have it in your mind, learn properly and write the homework by heart. What were the questions today? The first one is official language, that has been given in the page 244 within the box. So mark the answers clearly. None of them have to be asked me for any of the guides name. Well, second question is writ. It's in page 241 with the first 5 lines. Mark only first 5 lines. Difference between the fundamental rights and directive principle. It's in page 241 with the same box. The fourth question is constitutional remedies, page 241 fully. Okay. It consists with the writ and the 5 types of writ. That's all. That's what is constitutional remedies. God bless you all. We'll end this session. Thank you.